idea is a powerful thing. It is the foundation upon which every great action is built upon, is the catalyst, the beginning of every great story, movement, and invention. So the question lies, where do great ideas come from? How are they willed into existence? I would argue that the inception of a powerful idea is a dream. For a dream is a wish upon a star to make a thought into something real. It is more than just an idea, but the will, the want to make it come true. The sad thing is, dreams die every day, lost to the endless abyss that we call living. And so it's hard to be a dreamer in a world where dreams must become distant memories, floating away until it's just a speck of something else. This past year, I've learned a lot about life and the people that inhabit my own. I've learned that the things that used to seem so black and white were more gray, and the things that were more gray became more black and white. When I was younger and more naive, I thought anyone could do anything. All it took was a dream and the will to work hard enough. But there are some things that can only be answered with time, and I've learned that my simple naivete was just simply not the case. Environment, genetics, family, friends all have an impact on the ability for one to become the thing that they want to be. For the longest time, I wanted to be an electrical engineer and computer scientist. A computer engineer. I wanted to build computers, the things that run our everyday lives. No, I want to build the computer that runs everybody's lives. Then I went to college, and college is a weird way of making you learn very quickly about things and not just about school. Before I went to college, I thought I could do even the hardest things. That was just me, the person who could do everything. But no one can do everything. You see, I was fine with most things, but there was one thing that for the first time I felt I could not do. That was coding. I hate coding. There are a few things that gained the moniker of hate in my life, but I despise it. There's just something about those endless hours of sitting, typing on a screen for it to just give an error message, then hours more just staring hopelessly, begging for a solution to an error to suddenly appear in front of your eyes, and then yet hours and hours more of rubber ducking would pass and no solution would be at hand. And the worst of it was the undying boredom to do such a monotonous task. And I know for some, this evil task that I would not wish upon my worst enemy was something that they would call fun. But for me, it was torture. But I had a dream. A dream to be like Iron Man, building and coding computers from scratch, making a suit of armor to save the world. How could I give up on my dreams? If I want to achieve something, I could just keep working at it, and eventually, I'd be good enough. Right? Right? Now I found myself in a situation where, like Thanos, I was presented with a simple question. What did it cost you? At the rate I was going, the answer would be everything. Although it seemed like everyone was struggling, I felt like I was struggling way more than the people who were doing the same major as I. By the time I was in my second semester, I just could not keep up. The work kept on coming, and I was unable to do what was required of me. I was spending 20 plus hours a week coding, hopelessly searching for a solution to a problem I couldn't see. Sleep was a thing of the past, and code was the only thing I knew. Before long, my other classes started to take an impact, my physical and mental health going down the drain. Finally, after 4 or 5 weeks of this hell, I just had enough. I finally stopped and looked at what I was doing. This wasn't sustainable. Conflict ravaged my system. I felt like Zuko after letting Appa go. I was no quitter. If I dropped this class, then I'd have to give up my degree and I'd fall too far behind. But if I did give it up, I'd be able to focus on my other classes and still have a life. I mean, the decision should have been obvious, and the way I was acting, everyone was telling me there was only one right choice. The thing was those pesky emotions. It's strange how emotions can overrule even the simplest of logic. Pride and ambition are powerful things. How could I give up? No one else is giving up. I got here not because I was smart, but because I worked hard. So why can't I just push through this time? Why couldn't I just keep it going? It's not my genes to be a failure. I will not be a failure. I will not embarrass myself. 1 week. 1 week, I thought. I'd give myself 1 week to give it my all. And if it didn't work out, then I'd rip off the band-aid and quit right then and there. So I did what I said. I gave it everything I had. That week I spent nearly 30 plus hours coding over the course of 5 days. I slept about 3 hours a night and coded every free chance I had. I did only the bare minimum work that was necessary for my other classes. And I did all that. I did all that for nothing. My code still wouldn't run fast enough. And you can't submit code that wouldn't pass the tester. So I was left with no choice but to find a way to get help, and with limited office hours in my packed schedule, I'd have to go on Sunday, 2 days past the deadline. But that was the only way I was going to get this done. And so that Sunday, I got up early and went straight to office hours. I waited in the queue to get help, and when I finally did, I had a long conversation with the TA who re-explained all the nuances that I had already considered for the assignment. But by the time he had finished with his whole spiel, all I heard was one sentence. I think you need to restart. My soul left my body. All I felt was numb. I just got up, put my computer in my bag, and left. I was done. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. When I got back to my dorm room, I immediately dropped the class. And I was hoping that there'd be some sort of relief, right? I could finally rest. But I didn't want to rest. I wanted to live my dream. Instead, there was just this deep emptiness where my hopes and dreams used to live. It was then and there that I realized that my naive childhood belief that anyone could achieve anything was destroyed. It was true that given enough effort or even an infinite amount of time, people could learn to do anything. People will find workarounds to make what seems to be impossible possible. People can do anything that they dream of, but the problem was that time and effort. Is it worth spending your whole life trying desperately to achieve something? Is it worth attempting to do something that may never work? Is it worth putting in all that effort into one thing instead of trying all these other things? Well, that was one of those things that seemed so black and white that all of a sudden became more gray to me. Because my resounding yes quickly turned into, that depends. Depends on whether or not you think it's worth it. Looking back, I still feel a bit disappointed in my inability to push through. But in that disappointment, I realized that hard work would not always be a solution to my problems. But it was in my failure that I could learn something valuable, more valuable than if I'd ever succeeded and finished that class. It gave me perspective. It made me ask the deepest question that one can ask themselves. Why? Why was this class so hard for me compared to my other classes? Well, I enjoyed my other classes. Why? Because I didn't find them too hard. Yet other people wouldn't agree with that sentiment. Why? That's when it clicked to me. That was the perspective. Why was I getting a degree in electrical engineering and computer science when I hate computer science and enjoyed classes like physics so much more? There was nothing that could justify me putting myself through a degree that I hoped to never use. Why not do something different? Something I was actually interested in? Then things started to come into place. I enjoyed things like physics so much more, even though it was hard. It was challenging enough to keep me interested, but not so hard that it was no longer fun. This was perfect. I would just pursue a degree in electrical engineering and physics instead, right? Yet something still did not feel right. There was still just one problem: pride. I didn't come to this school to give up. I didn't come to this school to fail. I still want to be like Iron Man. He was no physicist. He was a superhero. And I was just me. What I hadn't realized yet was that maybe this change in my journey was really just a course correction to where I was supposed to be. Maybe this was putting me closer to my goals and my hidden desires than I could have ever done left to myself. Life is not a dream because it happens when we're awake. Life usually doesn't have those completely disastrous endings where we wake up still feeling the fall, or those picture-perfect stories that make us want to fall back asleep. Life requires us to leave those fantasies behind for the opportunity for living to raise us to something even greater than our sleeping mind could ever dream of. It is experiences like these that I value because it's taught me so much about life. These are the moments that teach you lessons that can only be taught by living. We each have a limited time in life to do the things that we want to do. That's what makes everything about living so precious. A sense of urgency is what makes us want to achieve. It's what makes us want to dream. However, it also means we have to make choices. We can't be everything. So we must learn to choose wisely to be something, even if that means we must kill our darlings. Does that mean we have to give up our dreams? Well, yes, but only to make room for new ones. Everyone deserves to dream and everyone deserves to be good at something, but we must take the time to introspect and find what we are good at and enjoy doing. We must look for the things that challenge us but don't make us suffer. Time is too valuable, and it's too valuable to use it putting ourselves in self-induced pain. It's okay to try things, but don't linger on the things that only hurt you, even if it is a dream. Those things have to go to leave space for opportunity, to leave space for the things that will make you better. Maybe opportunity is random, but if you increase your surface area, you'll have a much higher probability of getting hit. If we get fixated on that one outlandish childhood dream, we become Peter Pan, never learning to grow up. We forget about everything else that has happened and could happen. Sometimes you have to open your eyes to see the path that you're on is not the one you should be taking. That moment of clarity is what can change course from being a hopeless fight to achieve a nightmare to a paved roadway to the dream you never foresaw. Sometimes we all just need a spark to give us that small tap that gets us to push all the way through, and those pesky emotions, friends, family, environment, and even genetics can be some great motivators then. We can't control everything, and that need for control can get the best of us. We have to let go of control. So it's okay to give up on dreams, just never out of laziness or lack of effort. Maybe the world was built for dreams to die because it allows us to wake up. We must always try and fail. And in failure, we have the opportunity for a new sense of purpose. And it's hard. It's scary because it leaves us back in the unknown void where our dreams used to be. But it's in giving up those dreams that we can find